same one you were when we were sky high, Colorado. Your lips pressed against the bottle, swearing on the Bible, baby, I'll never leave you. I remember how bad I need you. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can watch you weave and breathe your storylines. And I wear my sunglasses at night so I can keep track of the visions in my eyes. While she's deceiving me, it cuts my security. Has she got control of me? I turn to her and say, don't switch the blade on the guy in shades, oh no. Don't masquerade with the guy in shades, oh no. I can't believe it, 'cause you've got a bed with the guy in shades, oh no. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can forget my name while you collect your clay. And I wear my sunglasses at night so I can see the light that's right before my eyes. While she's deceiving me, she cuts my security. She got
What's better than sweating it out with friends in the gym?
It's time to grind, Peloton.
Uncle Lou, I'm going to bring you in.
I'm not talking to him. I really don't want to talk to him.
Yeah, good morning in that, though, but it's Uncle Lou here, though. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou. Live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it also. And in addition to that as well, welcome to Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show. YouTube's longest-running college football call-in show. Yeah, facts. Just because something makes you mad don't mean it ain't true. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I do this every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Open up the phone lines and take phone calls from you guys and gals. And we do this year-round. Texas, Oklahoma, you no longer have an off-season. There is no off-season in the SEC. There is no off-season for diehard college football fans. There's just the part of the season where we don't play games. That's it. No such thing as the off-season here. Suggest you figure that out quick, Shorthorn. Playing thief. Get with the program. Good to see all of y'all in here today. 706-786-4481 is the number if you want to be on the show. 706-786-4481. The phone line's already full. The best way to get on is to try to call as someone else is hanging up. You just have to kind of time it right. But, yeah. Morning show every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on the second channel. Every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday on the second channel. The second channel is called Uncle Lou on LouTube. If one of the mods could post the link to the second channel, that'd be great. I forgot to pull it up and copy and paste it. But shout out to everybody for tuning in tonight. Hit the thumbs up. We're getting ready to get to the phone calls here, but appreciate everybody tuning in. See who's in the comments today. Lucas Sharp, John Cofield, Nick, Paladin Popple, Ben Burr, Jason Crosby, Alan A., Kevin Dog Fan for life. Shannon Doheny, sure I said that wrong, but I didn't name you, so don't get mad at me. Brad Pitt, Jazz Jackson, Mountaineer Mike, Gator Hater, Noel Nation, Captain Trips, Tiger Fanatic, Aimed at You, Go Tigers 504, Everlasting Chaos, Matt K, LSU Fan, Jack Selman, Rack Dog, 12-Man Gaming Nation, Bama Matt, Zane Reese, Neo, Joe Dirt is here. That's amazing. Rhino26, what's up, buddy? How's that SEC chant coming along? Hopefully it's coming along just fine. D4 is here. Bama Matt 93. Theo Sprinkles, USA Hits, Zach Allen, Pizza Woman, Football, Young Citrus, Dylan Deloney, Mr. Lambo, Jarrett Jackala, Kobe. If I missed you, I apologize. A bunch of you in here tonight, which is great news. Super Chat, located right below the comments section. If you're looking for a way to support the show, that's a great way to do it and get your comment highlighted at the same time. And, of course, I'll read your Super Chat, no matter how trolly it is. No matter how trolly it is. PayPal, for those of you who don't mind doing it that way, I will post the link in the comments section to the PayPal one time at the start of the show here. The link to the PayPal is also in the description of the video. Mr. Lambo, thank you for hitting the super chat right off the jump today. He says, good morning and two. I remember we talked about expanding the Big 12, and, well, that ain't happening. Yeah, they should have expanded when they lost Texas A&M and Mizzou, but they couldn't be bothered, and now their conference is going away. So it is what it is. You hate to see it, but if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. There's no such thing as standing still. Not just in football, in life in general. You cannot, if you're standing still, you're moving backwards. You have to be moving forward. The Big 12 was not, and now they're going the way of the dodo bird and Tennessee relevancy. Yeah, non-existent in that. You hate to see it. Let's get to the phone calls and see what y'all are talking about. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning, Uncle Lou. It's Dylan Coleman. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Dylan. What's up with you, buddy?
Oh, not much. The first thing I wanted to say, I guess, kind of important. Like, I just wanted to say that I really hope that that BVD's doing okay to start things off. Is he doing all right?
He's had 3 surgeries. He's made it through all 3 surgeries. I saw a video of him today, and
oh, that's good.
I mean, there's no way really to sugarcoat it. He didn't look that good, but he was able to talk. But we need to keep thinking about him or praying or whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, exactly.
He's going to have a tough road ahead. It looks like.
Oh, okay. And the next thing I want to say is I was going to tell you that I agree with you 100% about what you said about Notre Dame last week, that in the event that it went to a 4 mega conference, that should force Notre Dame to join a conference. I'm just kind of sick of seeing them just around acting like they're like way too good to join a conference or anything like that. It's like what you said, you hit the hit the nail on the head right there on that one.
Yeah, as far as I'm
And all
concerned,
that,
if we go to 4 conferences, Notre Dame should be forced to join the ACC fully. If they don't, then they can take their ball and they can go play with, they can go play with Bowling Green and Arkansas State and whoever else. I mean, it's just enough is enough now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, the thing about if they didn't join it, then they wouldn't be eligible to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, they should.
Like
They should.
Yeah.
They should forget this. Yes. The playoffs should. You should have to be in a conference to be eligible for the playoffs. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for taking the call, Uncle Lou. I like sharing that with you, and you have a good morning. All right.
Okay, thank you for the call, Dylan. It was good to hear from you. 706-786-4481 is the number. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, how have you been?
Been great. How have you been?
I've been doing okay.
Good.
Uncle, I need to talk to you about this Big 12 and the SEC drama with them thinking that, or with the Big 12 thinking that ESPN's blowing this Oklahoma-Texas thing out of proportion. First of all, I like to start this out with does ESPN own the Longhorn Network? Am I correct?
Yes.
Then why, whenever the Big 12 said okay to keep Texas back in was it 2010 or something back then? Remember they were thinking about going independent. How come the Big 12 didn't let Fox own the Longhorn Network? That's what
the Big 12 doesn't. The Big 12 can't sell the Longhorn Network. The Big 12 never owned the Longhorn Network. Texas owned the Longhorn Network.
But the Big 12 pretty much gave it to them in a way to make them stay in the Big 12. It was like a present, I guess, if you want to call it like that.
Okay, well, it still wasn't the Big 12's to sell then, was it? No, it was Texas. Texas owned the rights to the Longhorn Network. They sold it to ESPN, period.
I guess you're right, but I don't really.
Well, there's no guessing. I mean, there's no guessing. ESPN owns the Longhorn Network. That's not a guess.
Just one more thing. I'm just still lost on why the Big 12 wants to sue ESPN.
They claim ESPN. They claim ESPN is contacting other schools trying to get them to leave the Big 12.
It's kind of like me saying I want to sue Jeff Bezos.
People hate ESPN. People hate ESPN for the same reason they hate the Yankees, Alabama, the Dallas Cowboys, whatever. The ESPN is ESPN's on top, and that's why everyone hates them.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Louis, Nate the Great. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Nate, what's up, buddy?
Not much. Just want to talk some college football with you.
Well, you called the right show.
Yep. I am kind of mad, kind of affected by. So, I'll tell what I'm mad about first. Why Texas and Oklahoma? Why would they go to the SEC if they just wanted to? It screws the Big 12. I've been saying that, but
hey, Nate, you're a Nebraska fan. You're a Nebraska fan. Why did Nebraska leave the Big 12?
Because they wanted to.
Okay, there's your answer.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. But I want to give you an update. Okay.
Okay.
I had a podcast today, and on StreamYard. I don't know if you saw it, but I made my very, very own first podcast. Just an update for you.
Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations, sir.
Yep.
And thank you for the call. 706-786-4481 is the number. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, it's Billy Paul.
What's up, Paul?
And hey, man, listen. This is football, 100%. I get so tired of all these teams who don't really invest in football, but they want to be a part of it. Make it out like they need to be a part of it. You invest in it, and this is the SEC. They invest in it, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying ACC does. Don't even get me going on that. I get pissed about that too. But when you invest in it, Oklahoma, Texas, LSU, Georgia, I mean, even Florida, Tennessee, why in the world are we sitting here getting all rung up about what they're going to do? They're going to basically, these teams are going to take control. They're going to eat their young. They're going to take care of it, and they're going to say, "Yep, we're the real teams." And I'm just saying, I get a little upset about it because I get sad because everybody thinks, "No, we can't do this." Yes, we can. Yes, we can, and we will.
You're right. I mean, I don't really see. I mean, people don't have to like it, but the idea that people don't understand it is a little. I don't understand people who don't understand it. It's easy to understand. You might not like it or agree with it, but it's not. It's not hard to understand why teams are doing what they're doing, or the SEC is doing what it's doing. Again, you don't have to like it. You may think it's wrong. You may think it's bad for college football, and those are all legitimate points to make. But it's not hard to understand.
No. I mean, people have put a lot of money and treasure into their programs. And to have everybody else tell them, "Oh, yeah, you need to, get along to get along. Give to get."
Right.
No. We put money in this thing, man.
When college football, when we had the big shakeup 12 years ago or whatever it was, the SEC expanded.
Yeah, it's almost 10.
The ACC expanded. The Big Ten expanded.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-12 expanded. And the Big 12 gave everybody the bird and said, "Y'all are doing it wrong. We're doing it right. We're keeping 10 teams. That's it." They were proved wrong.
True. They made a colossal mistake. A colossal mistake. Seriously. And anyway, I just called in to say that because I wanted everybody to hear it for once. Not because I need to hog the thing. You got plenty of callers, but I wanted to say, well, thank you. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, Paul. You're one of my favorite people, buddy. We'll talk to you again soon. Clemson fan there calling in. Tater Man. 706-786-4481. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Ludo.
Hello, fellow SEC conference mate. How are you doing this evening?
Doing great, sir. You?
I'm doing great. It's
Good.
The big day finally came, and tomorrow, the dog and pony show for both schools, OU and Texas, are going to come out and make the big official announcement because they'll be able to talk about it now. And then we got Bob Bowlesby, who's having a hissy fit, and it's very entertaining for me to read his little statements, and ESPN basically just bitch slap him.
How long has he been in charge of the Big 12?
Down. He took over after Dan Beebe. This is the ironic part, is that Bowlesby was actually an upgrade from Dan Beebe because Dan Beebe was a moron. We've had such piss poor leadership over the years.
But how long? So how long ago was that?
Bowlesby took over. Chuck Ninus was like interim commissioner for a while, but he took over like 12, 13, I want to say.
Okay, so he's had 7 or 8 years to do something, and he's done nothing. Okay, good.
Exactly. So, he's screaming bloody murder, and it's just his way to make sure that they get the max amount of money for this buyout that's going to take place. And whenever that happens, we'll be playing football next year.
Right.
Good times.
Yeah.
But I know everyone's like trying to figure out what the, who owns the Longhorn Network and all this stuff. It's like, well, listen, we could spend an hour and a half on all that, how that all went down and everything. But yeah, ESPN owns the Longhorn Network. They're going to use that, and they're going to use that money to pay for the buyout. And here's one more thing I want to talk about. This just popped in my head. Let's all be grown-ups. Like, Bowlesby is right. ESPN is running this show, but his whole deal, he has proof. He doesn't have jack squat. That's his problem. He has like, well, so-and-so told me on the phone that ESPN told me that they were going to do this. That's not real evidence in a court case.
Right.
You ain't going to win this. It's not going to go down that way. So you can say that some schools called them and said, well, they want us all in the AAC or this and that. Of course they're going to make those phone calls because they're seeing what's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, why is ESPN the only bad guy here? Like I'm assuming, at least I hope, now the Big Ten commissioner's a babbling idiot, but if he's not on the phone with Iowa State or whoever else, like, then he's incompetent and he's neglecting his job. Like, so I don't know what the big deal. Like, the Big 12 is sinking, and the Big 12 wants to sue people for throwing their member institutions a life raft. Like, just let it go.
Yeah, and Bowlesby's hurt. And Bowlesby's hurting all those schools by being screaming and being like. I think here's a good idea. You're trying to keep your conference somewhat together, or to help them find a landing spot. I have a great idea. Let's accuse the number one TV network that airs college football. Let's call them out for conspiracy theories and how they're tampering with our conference. I'm sure that's going to end up going well for them. They're going to get a huge contract out of this. No, it's not. It's going to go very, very poorly. And
now that you're in the SEC, you just might as well go ahead and get used to it. Anything good that happens to Oklahoma from now on is only because of ESPN. That's it. You get ranked in the top 4 and make the playoffs, it's only because of ESPN bias. The NFL drafts half your team, ESPN bias. You get a top 5 recruiting class, ESPN bias. Everything is because of ESPN when it comes to the SEC. The only reason the SEC is any good is because ESPN pushes it so hard because of the SEC network, which didn't come into existence till 2014. Longhorn Network been around since 2010. Why isn't Texas winning 100 games a year since ESPN owns that? If the network is what's making ESPN push SEC, where are all the Texas national titles from 2010 to now? This idea that ESPN is some giant, Wizard of Oz behind a curtain is ridiculous. The SEC wins because they recruit the best players, they pay the best coaches the most amount of money, and they invest the most money in their football program. It's not rocket science.
See, Lou, it's like I used to accuse SEC bias, but now it's like
now you get
memory loss.
Now you get to enjoy its benefits.
I can't recall what I said maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Right. Maybe I said some things. Maybe I didn't. I'm getting up there in age. Maybe I've hit my head a few times back when I was in the Army. No, I'm looking like but for real. In all honesty, I am looking forward to no longer having to. I don't want to say be creative, but like when you're a team that's outside of the SEC, and this is again, I'm not going for the bias part. You do at times, when it comes to individual teams, it's not the conference as a whole, but there have been times from my end of the thing where you watch the playoff ranking show one week, and they say, well, this team is ranked here, and this is from the committee, not ESPN. Committee says this team's ranked here for X, Y, and Z. And then it's like, okay, well, we've done X, Y, and Z, and there's a couple of X and Ys we've done better, but we're down here. So that's where that kind of comes from. That's after the BCS era, the playoff era. Now, look, I'm an Oklahoma fan. I'm the first to admit those are very far and few between because we've benefited greatly from the BCS and the playoff era. So I'm not going to sit here and bitch about it. But from the outsider's point of view, that's kind of like the frustration. It's like, because how many times do we hear about like 13th data point back in 2014? Yeah. And then, but it didn't apply to Notre Dame. That's not an SEC thing. That's like Notre Dame didn't have a 13th data point, but they seem to do fairly well in playoff rankings at certain times. But I'm just thrilled that when we play a schedule and we win convincingly in certain games and we have a good enough record, I don't have to stress out about that shit anymore. And It's going to be great. When's it going to happen? next year after that, are we going to make a run? Who knows? But it's going to be nice to have this, that it's not bias, it's benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. All you have to do for the next couple of years, not this year, but for the next couple of years after that, all you got to do is either win the SEC or not win the SEC with one loss, and you're probably in the 4-team playoff. Once it goes to 12 teams, all you got to do is go 9-3 and you're in.
But the beauty part about all this is like how many times we have the conversation or the discussion, or, you know, if only you played an SEC schedule, you would never do this or this or that. And it's like, well, we're going to find out. And that's all I've always wanted, because it sucks many years to sit back. All right, we're playing TCU this week. They're unranked, and Georgia's playing, you know, Tennessee. Alabama's playing Texas A&M. LSU's playing Florida. And it's like, God, this schedule's a lot of fun to watch. Wish our schedule was that fun on a consistent basis. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, because everyone pays attention to those games. Like, no one's watching us on FS1 anymore. Thank fucking God.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Good to hear from you.
All right. Have a good one, fellow SECers. See you later.
Clemson John, thank you for hitting the super chat, sir. I appreciate that. He says, if you can't beat them, join them. Oklahoma philosophy. About to find out. I think Texas and Oklahoma will be in the SEC next season. Dylan Deloney, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, I excited about OU and Texas joining the SEC. I am too. Get some good games every couple of years, right? Well, for Georgia, we won't play Texas or Oklahoma every year, but depending on how they split everything up, we'll play them every couple of years. So that'll be good. More good games. Rhino 26. He says, Oni Kuno, it took me a bit to learn the SEC chant. Now it's your turn, buddy. There was an Oklahoma fan in the comment section at the beginning of the show. Sean Stapleton was his name. And he was typing SEC, 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 SEC. So I do see the Sooners starting to come around. Embrace the tradition. Look, it just means more. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, this is Mike from Kentucky. How you doing, Lou?
Hey, Mike, what's up, buddy? Good to hear from you.
Hey, I don't know. I guess the skinny cow and the buckboard are joining the fold.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
It really don't bother me. It really don't bother me too much. The only thing I've heard on the subject that rubs me the wrong way is I don't think Alabama or Auburn, either one, should have to move over for these interloping punks. They're going to get their brains beat out. And, I mean, I think that they ought to put Oklahoma in the East so Georgia can actually have some real competition for a change, and put Texas in the West, because Texas A&M is scared to death of them. They know they're second banana in the state of Texas, and they are shaking in their boots right now. What do you think, Lou?
I agree with most of what you said. I mean, Florida's been a top 10 team for 4 years in a row. 3 years ago, the SEC East had 3 teams in the top 12, which was more than the SEC West. The West is better than the East, generally speaking. There's been some years where the East has been better, but I disagree that there's no competition for Georgia in the East. I mean, we play Auburn every year. Some years they're good, some years they're not. Played Alabama last year, played LSU twice in the last 3 years.
I don't see much resistance in the East this year, though, really.
And how much resistance has Alabama? How much resistance has Alabama been running into in the West lately?
Not much. We crush everybody, too.
Okay.
It sucks to be at the top, don't it?
It really does. Yeah, it really does.
And I'm looking forward to a good Georgia-Alabama SEC final this year. It ought to be a real war. Have a good night, Luke.
Yep, thank you for the call. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most people are picking Georgia to win the East and Bama to win the West. Maybe Florida fans feel a little differently. Maybe Texas A&M fans feel a little differently. But I think your average college football fan who has no rooting interest in it, the majority of those people seem to be picking Georgia and Alabama to win the divisions in the SEC this year, from what I have heard and seen. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello, Lou.
Hey, what's up?
Hello. First time, so you're kind of special. And I'm an Oklahoma fan. I wanted to know about the SEC. You're talking about the SEC chant, which probably I will convert over to. But does Missouri do that? Did they scream SEC? Did they convert over to the chant of the SEC when they came in?
They did. It took them a while. They had to learn a painful lesson when they came into the SEC. I'm not sure if you remember, but a couple of their players gave a speech the week before their first SEC game they ever played, which I believe was against Georgia. And they said that the SEC, they said coming from the Big 12, the SEC looks like old man football. Slow and uninteresting. Georgia went out and beat the bejesus out of them. We stole the sign. We stole the signs that everybody had everybody had made the signs at Mizzou that said old man football. The Georgia players went and stole them, crossed out old and put grown. And Georgia players were running around Missouri's field with signs that said grown man football. So they learned a valuable lesson there. But that was a long time ago. Then they won the East, and then that's when the SEC chants started.
That's hilarious. I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Also, I'll tell you why I became a fan whenever you started your Dan Mullen, because and I'm not proud of the Sooners the way we beat Florida. I wish they'd have showed up and played a game, and they didn't care. And basically, that's on the coach. I mean, I'm
agreed.
They were a better team, what they had. But I believe that was all on Mullen. I think that was just a sad excuse of that. Also, I would love to see, my ideal situation would be at the end of the year, I would love to see Georgia and Oklahoma in the national championship. That's what I would love to see. Probably won't happen, but I'd love to see that.
Well, that's a popular prediction. Now, a lot of people snicker at that because they go, oh, well, Oklahoma can't win a playoff game and Georgia hadn't won a national title since 1980. And while both of those things are true, Georgia's as good right now as they've ever been, and Oklahoma's defense is as good as it's been in the playoff era, maybe longer. This is Oklahoma's best chance, in my opinion, to win a playoff game. Their defense is top 25, and that's a huge improvement from where it was in 17 and 18 when y'all were finishing in the 100s. And you still have, or are going to have, a top 5 offense. So Oklahoma has a very good shot of making the national title game. And Georgia, if they can get past Clemson at the beginning of the year and most likely Alabama at the end of the year. Not easy to do, but Georgia's got a team that can compete with Clemson and Bama. They got to win at least one of those games to have any chance of getting in. They lose both of those games, there's no way they get in. So we'll see, but it could happen. I mean, Alabama right now has the best odds to win the national championship. Oklahoma has the second best odds. Georgia has the third best odds.
Well, of course, a lot of that's tradition because Alabama. I mean, I'm thinking my view of that is that Alabama has earned that because they've been beating up on everybody, but they are changing the quarterback, and Georgia and Oklahoma both have seasoned quarterbacks to go against. Plus, you cleaned up in the transfer portal, and so did Oklahoma. So I think it's going to be a good game if we do both get there. But a lot of things got to go your way. Yeah. Last time Oklahoma won a national championship, we didn't have a lot of injuries. We had some luck on our side. We beat Texas A&M barely to get to the national championship in 2000. So things like that. But anyway, I just want to call up and appreciate you and give you a call. I've never called into a show before, and I've enjoyed it, especially your Dan Mullins and whenever you take them for Dan and things like that. Now, how did Tater come around with Dabo?
I can't take credit. I can't take credit for the Tater thing. I learned that from South Carolina fans. They've been calling Clemson the Taters forever. And I don't know the origin of it, but South Carolina fans have been calling Clemson fans Taters forever, and so I just adopted it. Yeah.
Okay, well, you've convinced me, too, that I will chance SEC someday. It'll take me a little while to get off the boomer and the Sooner, but I can't express my excitement of how I want to come to the Hedges or to Tuscaloosa to visit. It's just going to be, I think Oklahoma will fit in as well as anybody would into the SEC.
I understand what the Oklahoma fans are saying about not wanting to chant SEC, but when y'all play Kansas State this year, who's beat you a couple of years in a row, or when you play Iowa State, who a lot of people are picking to maybe compete with y'all, and you beat the bejesus out of them, I would not be surprised at all to see whatever contingent of Oklahoma fans happen to be at those games in the stands chanting SEC in the fourth quarter of those Oklahoma blowout wins. It would not surprise me at all.
I would love to see that. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm so excited about the SEC and the rivalry. The only fans that I don't know that I could ever stomach is going to be the Tigers, the LSU Tigers.
Well,
but
listen,
we'll see.
listen. Let me tell you this, and this is the biggest difference that Texas and Oklahoma fans are going to face during the season. When you guys play Texas every year, it's a huge game. And I know Oklahoma fans all know 1,000 Texas fans, and Texas fans all know 1,000 Oklahoma fans, and the trash talk is amazing. You're going to get 6 or 7 games like that every single year now. It won't take you long to develop hatred. You already said LSU. It won't take you long to develop a hatred for the Alabama fan, the Auburn fan, the Texas A&M fan, the whoever. And that's, to me, that's the biggest difference between the SEC and the other conferences. But forget about play on the field. I just mean the passion that the fans have. I mean, Ole Miss fans are just as passionate as Alabama fans. I mean, there's just really no breaks on your schedule in the SEC when it comes to how the fans act. So if you like trash talking and going back and forth with Texas fans, which I'm sure you do, and you already said you hate the corn dog, which is the LSU fan, you're going to have a great time in the SEC because almost every single week you're going to be able to trash talk fans because there are fans around from every team in the SEC. They're everywhere.
Now, we'll be able to do the horns down, you think?
Oh, the SEC office is not going to protect Texas's feelings like the Big 12 did. Yes, you can do the horns down.
Okay, well, I'll let you go. I've enjoyed it, and good luck, and I hope you have a successful show from here on out.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate you calling in. I hope you'll call in again. Season be here before you know it. Huffer Billy Paul, thank you for hitting the PayPal, sir. He has one-upped Rhino 26, which is not easy to do. He says, there's no way Rhino wins. Clemson, it just means more. SEC needs a real team. SEC needs Clemson, huh? Is that what you're saying? He's a Clemson fan. You are in the lead, sir. No question about it. Thank you for supporting the show, Huffer Billy Paul. You've been a good friend of this show for a long time, and Rhino, you too. I might have spoke too soon, Huffer Billy Paul. Rhino, thank you, sir. Wow. You guys are amazing. Amazing. Rhino and Huffer Billy Paul, thank you guys so much for hitting the PayPal link. You guys don't know how much, the fact that people would give me $1 blows my mind every single time, but I'm always honest with you guys, and I've said this 100 times, so I'm going to say it again now. Without the direct support from all of you guys, I would not be able to do this full time. It's hard to do this. It's hard to make a college football channel on YouTube work as a full-time job because the season only lasts 4 months. And I know a lot of us here are 12-month fans, but the reality is the majority of college football fans just aren't paying attention from March through August, really. And it makes it very hard to do what I do full-time. And without the support that you guys show up and give me day after day, week after week on these live shows and watching the videos that I upload, even in March, April, May, June, July, and August, I would never have been able to make the jump to YouTube full time. So I don't say that enough. I hate harping on money because no one likes to hear it, but every once in a while I need to make sure that everybody understands how appreciative I am for the support that all of you give me. It blows me away every single time. C-Dog, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, y'all send a video with words of encouragement to BVD. He's in a lot of pain, and the nurse said he needs it. Send in a short video to D4 at beyondthelights20@gmail.com, and he will show BVD tomorrow. Okay, I will type that email address in the chat section here. beyondthelights20@gmail.com. beyondthelights20@gmail.com. Okay, that's D4's email address. And, of course, D4 lives near BVD and has been going to check on him, I think, almost every single day there in the hospital. And what they're wanting you to do is send a short video clip. If you've never done it, if you've never tried to send a video clip on email before, it has to be a short video clip or you'll have a hard time emailing it. Make a short get well soon video or whatever you want to say to BVD. Send it to that email address that I just posted in the comment section, beyondthelights20@gmail.com. Send that to D4, and he will show BVD. A positive attitude goes a long way when you're trying to recover or recuperate from anything, whether it's a cold or whether it's something really serious like BVD is going through now. So anything we can do to brighten his day, to enhance his mood, to make him feel better or whatever, all of that stuff helps. So I hope some of you will take some time and make a video and send it in for him. I know it would mean a lot to him, I know. All right, let's get back to the phone calls. That is the point of this show, after all. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Lou, though.
Hey, Uncle Lou, this is A.A. Ron. Go Dogs.
What's up, A.A. Ron?
I had a hot take on this Oklahoma-Texas thing going on. So we all see that, it's pretty much a done thing. It's going to happen. But I was thinking about it. What if they're shopping and they're blowing all this up, they're getting all this attention, and they're making it like a reality, and then they're going to go to the Big Ten or the ACC, or they're going to they're going to do something different.
Who? Texas and Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Well, they're not. They're not. They've already officially asked for acceptance to the SEC, and the SEC has already officially accepted them. So they're in.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it today. I've seen that the SEC had, accepted them or whatever. But I was just thinking about it, and this is just a hot take. Everywhere is pretty much saying they're going, but they sure could stir up something and do something different still if they wanted to. They could go somewhere else. I don't think they are. It's just a hot take. And this is also making a lot of other people want to do some of the same stuff they're doing, because the power of this move is, one-sided. It's pretty much the SEC and everybody else.
Yeah, and this is how it started last time. The SEC added Texas A&M and Mizzou, and then we saw every other conference expand, with the exception, of course, of the Big 12. They got smaller. But when we took Texas A&M and Mizzou, you saw the ACC expand, the Big Ten expanded, and the Pac-12 expanded. So I expect the same thing to happen again here. I expect all three of those other conferences to go to 16 teams.
Right, and the Big 12 just disappear.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I just when I think about Oklahoma and Texas, I just feel like them coming to the SEC, is against their nature. Too much competition. They're gonna get more recruits, and they're gonna get more attention from the SEC and stuff. But if they went to the ACC, for instance, and played in the ACC, I just see them having a lot of balls to try to come to the SEC right now.
Yeah,
but, hey, they're coming. And it's awesome.
I mean,
Georgia already had
I guess what you're saying is possible, in the sense that technically anything is possible. But Texas and Oklahoma are coming to the SEC next year. That's just what's happening.
And I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
We already had them scheduled over the next few years to play them.
Yeah.
Georgia's not scared to play anybody, and they already started. They started this a few years ago, scheduling anybody and everybody that they could, and now it's definitely going to happen. And it's like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, what's not going to happen? What's not going to happen is the home and home with Florida State that's scheduled. You can throw that away. That's not happening now. And any other home and home we had scheduled is probably not happening, because if the SEC goes to 9 conference games, which they probably will. Georgia already plays Georgia Tech every year. That's 10 Power 5 games. So all those other games are going away. This may be the last time we play Clemson in the regular season in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, why would you not? I mean, who's better than the schools that are already in the SEC that you can play? And then you're going to 9 games. I mean, you don't need to schedule anybody else now. I mean, they're all left out.
I'm not necessarily in favor of that. Because I love these big non-con games. They're fun to watch. I especially love them when they involve teams that aren't UGA, because then I don't have to watch the games as a nervous wreck. Another thing we need to keep in mind too, a lot of these smaller schools are only exist because of huge paydays they get from big schools. Like when Georgia plays somebody like a Kennesaw State or one of these smaller schools and pays them $1 million. If you go to 9 or 10 conference games and you still want to schedule big non-con games, some of those smaller programs aren't going to be able to afford to exist anymore. But thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. Appreciate that. Sean D., the Notre Dame man, thank you for hitting the PayPal link tonight, sir. I really appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the show. He says, this is a great shoe as always, Lou. 38 days until we flog the frat boy on a pony at the big Waffle House in Tallahassee. Yeah. Notre Dame at Florida State. That's a week 1 game, right? I believe it is. I picked Notre Dame in that one. And when I did, because I've done a Florida State prediction video already, and a lot of people in the comment section told me that Florida State's winning that game. I don't see it. I know it's in Tallahassee. I know they got Mackenzie Milton, but I haven't seen Mackenzie Milton take a snap since 2018. So I just don't know what I'm getting with him. And I'm sorry, if I'm going to be wrong picking a big game involving Florida State, then I'm going to be wrong picking against Florida State. I just haven't seen Florida State look like they even have a pulse in 3 years. So if I'm going to be made to look like a fool on a Florida State game, it's going to be because Florida State wins, not because I picked them to win and they lose. That's just not happening. So if I'm wrong, I'll reevaluate my stance on FSU after week 1. But right now, Florida State's in a position where they have to show me something first before I can pick them to win any big game. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, Lou? It's Ballard. How you doing tonight, bud?
Ballard Sports Media. What's up, buddy?
Not much. I wanted to get your thoughts on this, but I really think forget about where they're going in a few years. Texas and Oklahoma deal with the SEC. But what do you think? Like, especially with Oklahoma leaving, being the best Big 12 team there is, and it's not. I mean, it's really not even close. Ultimately, looking forward in the future, like I'm not here to ask what the next up and coming teams are, but ultimately, do you think this could eventually be the end of the Big 12 altogether?
Yes.
Considering how big of an impact Oklahoma and Texas have had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the Big 12 remains, but it's no longer considered a Power 5 or 4 conference. They'll be relegated to the same level as the AAC and the MAC and all that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, it's not necessarily it's more so you got to think revenue. And honestly, I mean, the Big 12 outside of Oklahoma and Texas, and I know Baylor had that year in 2019. They looked okay, but that was like one of those, once in a lifetime type of, runs that they kind of had to even make the Big 12 title. But I just think the Big 12 is really dead outside of Oklahoma, honestly. I mean, there's really they literally have the worst Power 5 team in Kansas. So, I mean, what else can you say about that?
Yeah. I feel like you're being a little bit too disrespectful towards Texas. I mean, if you think Texas is that bad, then that means you think the SEC only has about 4 or 5 good teams. And if that's what you think, then fine. But I don't understand how, as SEC fans, we've been running around telling everybody how great we are top to bottom, but then we look at Texas and say they're dog doo-doo. If Texas is dog doo-doo, then there's about 9 dog doo-doo SEC teams, and I don't believe that.
Yeah, I never said anything bad about Texas. I wasn't saying Texas was bad. I mean, look,
well, you said Oklahoma was the only legitimate program in the Big 12, is what you said.
Well, I mean, I just meant like they were the main team, and they're the only one even to have made the playoffs. Or, yeah, Texas beat Georgia a few years ago.
How many teams in the Big 10 have made the playoff?
Ohio State.
And one more, Michigan State.
Right.
Same as the Pac-12. 2 teams.
Oregon and Washington. Yeah.
same as the ACC.
Florida State the first year, and then, of course, we know about Clemson.
And only 3 SEC teams, right?
LSU, Georgia, and Alabama. Yeah, I guess only 3. Yeah.
So I don't think that making the playoffs is an accurate determining factor for how many good teams are in a league.
Right. I mean,
I think Florida, fair. I think Florida, Texas A&M, Auburn are good programs. You know,
right.
I mean, we can argue over what the word good or great means, but you know, Florida hasn't made a playoff. Are they the same as Kansas? No.
Yeah.
I think Texas is a relevant program. I mean, I don't have any hate for Texas. I mean, in my lifetime, we played them that I know of once. Maybe we played them before when I don't remember, but I mean, they beat us in the Sugar Bowl. But I mean, so I don't have any hate for Texas for any reason, but there just seems to be a lot of people that are going, I don't understand why the SEC wants Texas. Well, if you don't understand that, I don't know. I don't know what you do understand. I mean, they're one of the richest. I mean, how much they print money? Texas is a relevant football program. I mean, you know, have they been as good as Oklahoma in the last 10 years? No. But there's only about 5 teams that have.
Right.
I mean, you know, when the worst thing you can say about Oklahoma is that they're 0 for 4 in the playoffs, I mean, is that really a bad thing? I mean,
I don't think
or
so.
0 for 3, whatever they are. But you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. I think adding Texas and Oklahoma makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I really don't care. I think it might be very interesting because you imagine the matchups that we're going to see more often. We already know what Lincoln Riley's done with Oklahoma. Seeing them play teams like Georgia, Bama, Florida, LSU. I mean, all these teams that they're going to play on a more regular basis, I think it's just going to make it even more interesting in college football. But anyway, that's really all I got for tonight. Hope you have a good morning, and I will see you tomorrow for the sports news.
Yeah, we're doing Family Feud in the morning, too, just to let you know.
Cool.
All right.
See you then.
All right, I'll talk to you in the morning. I saw a Rudy in the comment section saying that I say the same thing about Notre Dame, that they're no good because they haven't won a playoff game. Sir, that's fake news. I put Notre Dame on a 3-year major postseason bowl ban, not because they can't win a playoff game, but because they haven't won any major postseason game since 1991, 30 years. They're 0-10. If you go all the way back to the start of the BCS era, they've made 10 either BCS bowl games, BCS title games, playoffs, and they're 0 for 10, and their average margin of loss is 25 points. It's not because they're 0-1 in the playoffs. It's because they can't win a major postseason bowl game. Go down the list of teams that can. Georgia Tech won a New Year's Six game, for Christ's sake. I mean, come on. What are we really talking about here? Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Uncle Lou?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I'm Sooners. You know, I'm hyped for the SEC. Oklahoma coming to the SEC. I honestly think, though.
You say you're a Sooners fan?
Yeah, Sooners fan.
Good.
I've been watching the show for a little bit, few months. I watch it in the season a lot, but I just started watching since all this Oklahoma SEC started happening. What was I going to say? I don't know how they're going to do it with the pods or the divisions, but I think Oklahoma is going to probably be the best team in the SEC.
Well, I don't know what makes you think that, but there's nothing wrong with being positive in July.
Just because, we got I think we're set to win the Natty this year. Just with, Spencer Rattler, our offense, our defense, just being a beast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's got a great chance to win the Natty this year. There's a big difference between that and saying Oklahoma's going to be the best team in the SEC. like going forward. Like I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I was just going to ask as well. So, what conference? Like, what do you think about Notre Dame? You think they're going to join ACC or Big Ten?
I don't think they have any choice. If they're going to join a conference, I think it has to be the ACC, or they're going to have to pay a bunch of money too, because they're tied to the ACC and every other sport besides football till like 2035. So if it's going to cost $80 million for Oklahoma to leave the Big 12 because they're obligated to 2025, what's it going to cost Notre Dame to leave the ACC 10 years further down the road? I mean, so I don't think they have a choice. I think it's either the ACC or they stay independent in football. I don't think the Big 10 can get them.
Yeah, I got you. I was going to say also, like, I'm pretty much a Notre Dame hater. I was going to say Notre Dame, I got them, like, win, like, 6 games this year. I think they're the most overrated team.
Yeah, I have them. I did my prediction for Notre Dame already. I have them at 8-4, and people in the comment section lost their minds. But I do think Notre Dame takes a step back this year. They lose too much offensively, in my opinion. But and I think they're going to lose to Southern Cal, Cincinnati, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. The rest of the teams they play are pretty much doo-doo. I'd be shocked if they went 6-6.
Notre Dame plays every game like Army-Navy football game, just like run the ball, smash mouth football, but they're just not good at it. Like, they're just bad at football.
Yeah, that's when they won most of their national titles, back when they used to beat they used to play like 6 different service academy schools a year. I don't know what to say about that other than whoopity-doo.
All right, then. I'm going to let you go, Uncle Lou.
Okay, thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you, and good luck to your Sooners this year. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, Uncle Lou? This is K5. How you doing?
Hey, K5. I'm good. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. Sitting here watching the Olympics. Guess what sport? Handball, man.
Oh, handball.
Handball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nuts. So all these people calling in about Oklahoma and Texas. The thing I think is going to be like an eye opener with them is in the SEC. I mean, you got teams like there's a possibility for 2 to 4 losses. I mean, like the Ole Misses might beat you, Auburn's. You know, like there's several LSU.
Right.
Arkansas, I mean,
right. And this has kind of been the argument that the SEC fan has been making to non-SEC people for a long time. Yes, you can practice for 30 days in December and beat a good SEC team. Yes, you can do that. But it's a lot harder if you have to play Alabama on the road. Then the next week, you got to play Texas A&M at home. Then the week after that, you got to play, let's say, Arkansas on the road, and then Ole Miss on the road. That's the issue. Now, there are some bad teams in the SEC. It's not like you're going to be playing top 10 teams every week. I mean, yes, you're gonna have some bad teams every year. Mississippi State's probably going to be bad this year. Auburn may struggle this year. Vandy may struggle this year. South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. You've got some bad teams. But you don't have the number. You don't have the number of guaranteed wins every year in the SEC that you have in say the Big 12. It is going to be a tougher schedule overall, and that's what trips people up. I mean, Georgia's been a really good team the last 3 or 4 years. We have 0 undefeated regular seasons. It's just hard to run through the SEC. Alabama's done it several times. But almost everybody else always loses at least a game. So we'll see. I mean, I think Oklahoma can compete right now in the SEC. By compete, I think what I mean is I think they can be competitive week in and week out against everybody they play. Would I pick Oklahoma to run the table their first year in the SEC? No. I rarely pick Alabama to run the table in the SEC just because the weekly grind is so tough.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was my point. You know, there's just more opportunity for like slip ups. You know, and
right.
Even the teams that aren't consistently good every year are going to have years or games at least. I mean, Tennessee's going to have a good game.
Yeah.
South Carolina's going to have a good game. Even Missouri, Kentucky. So my other point, I'm a Georgia fan, but I wanted to ask you about this. So Alabama and Florida is like what, 3rd game of the season. So the Love kid. I mean, Alabama's offense they lost the receivers, quarterback, Najee Harris. I mean, I don't know why it's such a far-fetched idea that they're not going to lose to Florida. And even, there's potential LSU. What if they show up to play Alabama?
I agree with you. Alabama, somebody mentioned this, or Alabama does get the benefit of the doubt every year. If any other team lost what Alabama was losing, people would be down on them this year, like they're down on Florida. Florida lost just as much, if not more, than Alabama did. So that's the only disagreement I have with what you said Alabama lost a lot. Well, Florida lost 90% of their offense, and they don't recruit at the level that Alabama does, so they're not going to be able to replace all those players in 1 year. Alabama potentially can. A lot of it depends on Bryce Young and how well he plays, but Alabama and Clemson, and to a certain extent Oklahoma, at least for regular season predictions, and you can add Ohio State too. Those 4 teams have earned a lot of benefit. I mean, how many regular season losses do Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ohio State have combined over the last 5 years? Less than 10. I mean, that's unbelievable. No one else can say that. And so I see I see why people give Alabama the benefit of the doubt. But you're right. If it was any other team that lost a Heisman wide receiver, 2 other wide receivers, a starting quarterback, and an amazing starting running back, people would be a little bit down on them. But look at Clemson. Clemson lost the best quarterback they've ever had and the best running back they've ever had, and everybody has them going 12-0. Certain teams, just get that benefit of the doubt, and honestly, they've earned it, in my opinion. I think Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State and Oklahoma have earned some benefit of the doubt with the way they've played over the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah. You got your money in, Lou? I think we're a 3.5 point underdog in the Clemson game, and then it's plus 600 for the Natty right now. So
yeah, I would take.
I know you don't bet on Georgia, but
well, sometimes I do. I think now if Georgia was a 3.5 point favorite, I wouldn't bet Georgia. I think the spread should be less than 3 points, no matter who's favored. I wouldn't bet the game over 3.5 on either side. So I won't bet it at 3.5, and if I do, I'll take Georgia. Because I think the game's going to be 3 points either way.
Yeah. I just hope, it seems like Georgia would be hungry this year, and I kind of get that feeling, with all the guys coming back. But I mean, that's every year, so we'll see. I just another thing I wanted to kind of get your comparison. This is going back to what we've already talked about, and I forgot to mention it. But so what are a couple of teams that you would compare like a Texas or Oklahoma to in the SEC now, like Auburn, where they got a good year, like Oklahoma had a couple good years.
I would compare Oklahoma. I would compare Oklahoma to Alabama. I think Alabama's got a little bit of a better defense, and I think Oklahoma's got a little bit of a better offense. But a couple of years ago, Alabama's defense wasn't that good. That would have been a good compare. They had Tua, they had Judy, they had Devontae Smith, they had Jalen Waddle. But their defense was terrible, and they lost 3 games and played a Citrus Bowl or whatever it was.
Well, let me kind of rephrase the question. Like, what about not as much comparison as about, they're a strong defense, their offense team. I'm talking about just kind of like a team, like how good they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, without comparing the actual team as far as offense defense, like how good they are as far as Texas is equivalent to like a LSU or not even.
Yeah.
What's your kind of?
Do you mean this season?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean,
Oklahoma's as good as anybody in America. Oklahoma's as good as anybody in America. Period. Oklahoma. There's nobody Oklahoma can't beat. Now that doesn't mean they will beat them, but Oklahoma's absolutely loaded. I know people are stuck on their defense. Oklahoma's defense is not a joke this year. I'm not trying to convince anybody that Oklahoma's going to have a top 5 defense. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is you don't need a top 5 defense. You need a top 25 defense, and you need a top 5 offense. And Oklahoma has that this year, in my opinion. So I would put Oklahoma up against anybody this year. I don't know that they'll beat everybody, but Oklahoma's got a legitimate shot. Right now, Texas, to me, is a lot like Auburn. Brand new coaching staff. Auburn's got a little bit of an advantage because at least they have a returning starter at quarterback. Texas doesn't. Texas has a great running game. Auburn's got a good running back too. Texas has a good defense. Auburn will have a pretty good defense. I think Texas and Auburn are a pretty close comparison for this year. LSU, I'm not sure. LSU is not a 500 team. I know they went 5-5 last year. That was an anomaly. Now, so was 2019. LSU isn't beating everybody they play by 40 points again anytime soon. But LSU is somewhere in between 2019 and 2020. They're not a 6-6 team, and they're not a 15-0 team. They're an 8-4, 9-3, maybe 10-2 if Texas A&M doesn't figure out the quarterback situation. I think that's where LSU is. But I would put Texas somewhere in the LSU Auburn category right now. I think Texas A&M right now ahead of Texas. And that's going to make them mad, and that may change. But I think like this year, if Texas A&M and Texas played tomorrow, I would pick Texas A&M to win. And of course, I would put Alabama ahead of Texas too. I would put Georgia ahead of them. Florida and Texas may be a good game. So I think they're somewhere in the Florida, Auburn, LSU range right now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I just wanted to get your opinion, like, because programs every year, they, other than like the Alabamas, every year is kind of, they'll be better one year than the next. But as far as just program overall powerhouse,
yeah.
And then another thing I wanted to ask you is, so as far as like,
you there? Oh, your call dropped. Not sure what happened. I don't know if you're on a cell phone and hit a dead area or what. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. Big time Center fan here. First time caller for your show. Just want to let you know, man, I'm really excited about this merger with the Big 12, or Oklahoma and Texas anyway, with the SEC. I think it's made for TV.
I agree.
100%.
I agree, and it's made for YouTubers as well. From a selfish perspective, like these are two of the biggest fan bases in college football. It almost doesn't even matter what I think of Texas or Oklahoma as a football team. Their fans are close to SEC level crazy, and for a YouTuber, that's amazing. I can't tell you how many Texas or Oklahoma fans have called into this show over the last 2 weeks that I've never heard from before. And so from a selfish perspective, This is great news for me. This is much better than the SEC adding Mizzou and Texas A&M. Texas A&M's got a lot of fans. Mizzou, I don't think I've ever talked to a Mizzou fan, maybe once or twice. So from a selfish perspective, having people like you coming around now, this is great news for me.
Yeah, I found your podcast on, I'll watch that Mark Rogers, and somebody had posted up your link on there, and so I clicked on it, and hey, here I am. Hey, first impression is the best impression, man.
Yeah. Mark Rogers is a good buddy of mine. In fact, we were talking a few days ago, and we're trying to get a date lined up for me to come on over on his show and talk with him one day here pretty soon.
But down here where I live at, I live right on the Arkansas-Oklahoma border, just crossing Oklahoma there a little bit over to Roland. And everybody around here is ecstatic with the chance to play Arkansas, which I think that's a game they should have been playing all along anyway, just because of proximity.
Yeah.
But we're really excited about the Hogs, man, and Oklahoma possibly playing every year, man. That just means a lot to people around here just for that alone.
Yeah,
but for Oklahoma,
we're going to see some great games, no doubt about it.
Yeah, but like you was talking earlier, the guy brought up the Notre Dame deal. Well, Notre Dame, they didn't play bowl games forever, and they were kind of forced into that with the newspaper articles naming their national championships and stuff like that after the bowls.
Yeah,
and it kind of makes me lose respect for Notre Dame a little bit, because they've kind of always kind of cheap shot at teams a little bit here and there, especially if you go back in the olden days, how they did things. But if you look at their schedule now, they're not afraid to play anybody. Their schedules are always top notch, so it's hard to argue against Notre Dame almost on any level.
They're obligated. They're obligated to play, I think, 6 ACC teams a year. Now, the ACC doesn't have a ton of great teams, but we're getting to see Notre Dame play North Carolina. They played Clemson last year. They play Florida State. It's not Notre Dame's fault that Florida State is bad. I mean, if you pick any random year over the last 25 years and you say Notre Dame's going to play Florida State, that would be a game you'd be excited to see. So not Notre Dame's fault. Florida State's terrible. Then they play Southern Cal every year. They played a home and home with Georgia here recently. They still play Michigan every once in a while. I agree with you. So, now, sometimes Notre Dame ends up with a pretty good schedule depending on the draw they get from the ACC. But they got a pretty tough schedule this year. They play Wisconsin. They play Cincinnati. Those are two top 15 teams. They play North Carolina. That's a top 10 team. And they play Southern Cal. That's a top 15 team. I mean, they play 4 top 15 teams. So not an easy schedule.
Yeah. Not an easy one at all. Now, to get back to Oklahoma, they've had issues in the past, man. If you followed them and stuff like that over the years, there was a time we couldn't beat Baylor. And it makes me wonder, if we couldn't have gotten it straightened out, we'll be talking about Baylor in the SEC.
Oh, Lord.
Which at the time when they had Art Browse, they were pretty good. You know?
Yeah, they had some good.
So he had all that stuff happening there, but I don't know. It's all going to be made for TV, and I'm excited and I'm ready to roll.
Me too.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping after this year here, we walk into the SEC with the Big 12 championship, which Bob Bosley, I'm telling you now, I mean, there would be nothing more funnier. That dude, he's an idiot. I'll be the first one to tell you that. That guy, man, he's something else.
It would be funny to have to watch the commissioner of the Big 12 hand the Big 12 trophy to Oklahoma at the end of the year.
Well, you remember a few years ago when Nebraska played OU when they were heading to the Big Ten, they almost beat Oklahoma in that Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
It was almost So, I mean, it would be fun. I mean, Bob Bosley, I think he's just more worried about losing his job.
Right.
All this stuff that he's doing is this desperation, like a Hail Mary pass that ain't going to be caught.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't know. But all right, buddy, I was just want to call in and let you know, man, I support you and I like your show so far. So I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling in and welcome to the jungle that is the SEC. Buckle up; it's going to be a lot of fun. As a college football fan, well, as a Georgia fan, clearly I'm excited about getting to play Georgia and Oklahoma every few years. But as a college football fan, I mean, even if Georgia's not playing Oklahoma and Texas in some given year, I'll still get to see Oklahoma and Texas play Bama or LSU or Texas A&M or Mississippi State or Auburn or Florida or Tennessee or whatever. I mean, but there's lots of reasons to be excited about Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. I understand all the concerns about the impact that this might have on college football as a whole. I totally get that, and I share some worry and concern because I am a college football fan, not just a Georgia fan. I'm a college football fan. So I share some of those concerns. But just purely looking at it from a scheduling perspective as an SEC guy, I couldn't be more excited. Facts. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, this is Kim. Kim, I'm from Sooner fan from Oklahoma.
Oh, good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to call in and just say that I am also excited about the move to the SEC. I think, really, honestly, I think Texas and Oklahoma mostly, I mean, I feel like we are a better fit there, honestly. And just wanted to
I agree.
say that not all OU fans are crazy. Not all of us think we're going to walk in and we're going to just blow it all away. We're a lot of us are realistic, and I know there's crazy nuts on every fan base.
Oh,
but
no doubt.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Tennessee
I heard
fans.
that gentleman earlier.
Tennessee fans think they're going undefeated every offseason since 2007. It's the funniest thing. But Texas and Oklahoma are a good fit. I said this earlier, forget about the football teams, just from a fan perspective. There's not a whole lot of fan bases around the country that are as idiotic as SEC fans, and I mean that in a good way, crazy when it comes to their football.
Right.
But Texas and Oklahoma fans are. I mean, you guys will fit right in with the fans in the SEC for sure.
I mean, I go to the, except for last year because of COVID, I go to the OU Texas game, the Cotton Bowl every year, season ticket. holder at OU. Love it. I'm looking forward to, making road trips to other, more storied programs, So I think it's a good thing for everybody. And I think everybody is excited for some of these SEC teams to come to Oklahoma, visit Norman.
Well, yeah. The SEC is excited. Oklahoma and Texas is excited. Everyone else is mad.
They're pissed. I know. I got friends and family that are Oklahoma State fans.
Yeah.
They can't. They're just pissed. They're pissed.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to move on.
Right. And there's no reason Oklahoma can't still play Oklahoma State. Now, obviously, both teams are going to have to get together and agree on that. But there are several in-state rivalries in the SEC already against non-SEC teams. Florida and Florida State play every single year. Georgia and Georgia Tech play every single year. South Carolina and Clemson play every single year. And we do it at the end of the year, the last game of the year. And the Oklahoma State game would fit in perfectly with that. Last game of the season every single year. Same week that we're playing Georgia Tech, Florida's playing Florida State, and South Carolina's playing Clemson. So as long as Oklahoma and Oklahoma State can get together and agree on that, that rivalry can be preserved.
I think it can too. I see no reason for it not to.
Yep.
I've been watching football. I'm 50 years old. I'm the Barry Switzer guy or lady. I love it. I mean, I'm old time OU football.
Yeah.
And that's been around forever. We've always kicked their ass mostly, but it's still, I'd like to kick it some more. So
yeah.
I'm all for it. But anyway, I just wanted to call in and just say, not all of us are nuts. There's a lot of OU fans that are realistic.
Yeah.
But I think that, what I think irritates some of us is, of course, people say whatever, but there's so many SEC teams that are not Alabama, Georgia, or LSU who think that, it's like that trophy, they cut it up between all of them. Every time the trophy's won, they won it. And that drives me crazy.
Yeah, well,
but
there is a lot of that goes on in the SEC, that's for sure. Now, not every SEC fan, but a lot of us are SEC homers. So, I mean, I don't personally claim an Alabama national title as my own or as a daddy for Georgia, but we do brag on each other. You know what it's kind of like? If you have a younger sister or a younger brother, it's okay if you push them around a little, but you don't want anybody else pushing them around. And that's kind of how the SEC fans feel about our schools. I love making fun of Alabama and Auburn and Tennessee and all those teams. But when bowl season comes around, I want Tennessee to beat the hell out of whoever they're playing because they're in the SEC. So there is a lot of that goes on.
Yeah, sure. I can see that. Well, it'll be a fun. I'm looking forward to it. I agree. I think I've heard a couple of your shows. You don't think it's going to be 2025. I don't think it's going to be 2025. I think it's going to be next season, and I embrace it. We're happy about it, and it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. But anyway, I appreciate your listening. Well, thank you.
Thanks for the call, Kim. I hope you'll call back in again. I'm glad you found the show, and buckle up, like I told the last guy. Because I love talking serious college football, but there's a trash talker that lives inside of me, and he's always itching to come out. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. KP up in Cheyenne. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. What's up, bud?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, so giant Oklahoma fan, born and bred there. Currently stationed up here in Cheyenne, but I would like to officially tell to you from Sooner Nation, thank you for giving us somebody now that we can tune into that is not on that may be on a step mill.
I know what you're doing there. I know what you're doing there. Yeah. Shout out to RJ Young.
But man, I'll tell you, I've enjoyed your show for a while now. The funny part is I even watched it during all the years that you trashed on our defense because, man, I'm the guy that I watch an entire game whether we're killing them or being killed. And I got to the point where when the defense got on the field, I went and got a drink because it was terrible to watch.
Yeah, the 2017 Rose Bowl, and I'm not bringing it up to brag, but that that's the worst tackling I've ever seen. I know talent was maybe a little bit of an issue, but my God, how many 60-yard touchdown runs did we have? And I mean,
a lot.
We never got touched. I mean, it was like y'all. It looked like y'all were playing with 5 players a lot of the times. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Yeah, so I was hard on the defense for a while, but all this offseason, now I'm playing the opposite role. I'm having to convince everybody this offseason that Oklahoma's defense is for real, because I think it is.
Well, and I will tell you, that's what happens when you have the red-faced moron up in the box calling 3-man fronts on a running situation.
He set y'all back.
I'm so glad
we
got rid of the nepotism hire.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so bad. But man, I'm excited. And a couple of callers ago, a guy was asking, and he was getting to like, where do our programs, like their history, their heritage, and all that kind of stuff, rank in the SEC? And he brought up Auburn and all that kind of stuff. And I am an Oklahoma homer, but other than Alabama with their 27 made-up titles, Oklahoma's heritage is right up there with everybody else, the top in the nation when it comes to national titles, Heisman's, all of that.
Right.
So for me, I'm excited for it, and I'm excited as a college football fan that, in all honesty, I don't have to. One, I can stop watching these dumbass big noon kickoffs, and I don't have to wake up. I don't have to watch a football game with a beer at 10 a.m. out here in Cheyenne.
Yeah. Now,
my wife's drinking coffee and I'm drinking a beer.
You will have a couple of noon games a year. Every team, it happens to every team in the SEC. ESPN puts one of the worst games of the week on at noon, sometimes 2. But the best games of the week will be at 3:30 Eastern or 7:30 Eastern every single week.
Exactly.
So you don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and watch your team kick off while you're still eating your Egg McMuffin.
Yeah, man, and I'm a huge fan of that just because, having to watch the 50th anniversary of the greatest game ever played between Oklahoma and Nebraska at noon because Bob Bowlesby didn't have a big enough spine to stand up to Fox Sports.
Right.
Told Oklahoma that you signed a contract so you'll play when they play.
Yeah,
that was, in my opinion, the straw that broke the camel's back on it.
And I'll tell you this:
was not happy.
You'll never see another Texas-Oklahoma game at noon. That I can promise you.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited as an Oklahoma fan. I wanted this to happen 10 years ago. I've been beating this drum for 10 years that we need to get out of the anchor around our neck of the Big 12, because now, in all honesty, a one-loss Oklahoma doesn't have to play the whole, they play in the Big 12, the big games are Kansas State and Iowa State and all this nonsense where we're actually on the same level, the SEC bias and all that kind of stuff that, Big 12 fans, and I'll be first and honest, I've said in the past as well, it'll be nice to be on the other side of that hand where the schedule is given some credence, and it rightfully so. I'm excited to, instead of watching Kansas and Kansas State, playing LSU and playing Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Like, I can't wait for these games. And
that's an excellent point. It's not just that your own team will have 5 or 6 great games a year. It's that even the 5 or 6 weeks, because there are going to be some weeks where you're playing Vandy or whatever, but also on that week, it's going to be Texas and Texas A&M, Alabama versus LSU, Georgia versus Tennessee. So even on the weeks when your team is playing a crap game, there's gonna be too many good games. You're gonna have to do like me and put 4 TVs on the wall. You just can't watch them all.
I was gonna say, I got 3 TVs in the bar, and I will tell you that for the past 10 years, 2 of them have been turned to SEC games and 1 to my game.
Yeah. Well, you're already all set up, and you're good to go.
Hell yeah! Well, I will tell you, man, I've enjoyed the content for a while. It's the first time I've called in because I got a reason to call in. So I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate the content.
Yeah, thanks for the call, man. I'm glad you tuned in, and I'm glad you took the time to call, and hopefully we'll hear back from you soon. Fine bum. Thank you for the super chat. He says, unlikely that the remaining Big 12 teams will get picked up by the Big 10, ACC, etc., as adding them will not increase TV revenue for these conferences. Kansas and Cowboys might come close. Big 10 has the biggest TV deal and not the SEC. Well, there's other considerations besides TV money. And you're saying the Big 10 has the biggest TV deal today. Not tomorrow. I mean, what do you think Texas and Oklahoma is going to do to the SEC's TV deal? It's going to be over $1 billion. But it's not just about the TV money. It's about remaining relevant against an SEC conference that's going to have Alabama, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Texas. There's no other conference right now that can compete with that. There's just not. So it's not just about the TV money when it comes to adding teams. It's about remaining relevant. The Big 12 didn't add any teams last time we had a round of expansion. And what is happening now? They're going away. And if these other conferences don't expand, they'll end up going away. Right now, it's either expand or lose teams. That's just that's just where we're at right now. But thank you for the super chat, sir. Apex, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Hey, Uncle Lou, can't wait for week 1, full capacity, Georgia versus Clemson. So happy we're going back to normal this season. Can't wait for the whiteout game." Yeah, fingers crossed on the fans thing. I still think we're going to have full attendance, but you just never know. Jesus Christ Home Slice, thank you for the super chat. He says, an incredibly nervous R.J. Young be like, I don't think Oklahoma and Texas will leave the Big 12. Yeah, I did see that video he made where he didn't believe it. But honestly, a lot of people didn't believe it because we've heard this song and dance before, and it's never actually happened. And really what surprised me more than it happening was how quick it happened. So I don't blame RJ for being wrong on that, but nevertheless, he was wrong. Oni Kuno, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm not on a step mill, and I'm a real Oklahoma fan. Listen, far be it from me to be the one that has to sit here and take up for RJ Young. And I believe me, I hear from Oklahoma fans all the time who have an issue with R.J. Young for one reason or another. There's a lot of Georgia fans that have issues with Uncle Lou, so I kind of, I don't want to say it's not that I feel sorry for him. There's no reason for me to feel sorry for R.J. Young. He's very successful. Listen, R.J. came onto YouTube. He had a goal. He did what he had to do to reach that goal. From a professional standpoint, I don't knock RJ Young at all. Now, he's not my cup of tea either. I don't go to YouTube to watch suit and tie and buttoned up and polished, and I go to YouTube to watch idiot fans like me that yell and scream and get emotional and overreact every time something little happens, and that's what I enjoy watching on YouTube. And that's not a knock on RJ. RJ had a goal, a plan. He had a place he wanted to get to, and he got there. And if you forget the fact that he's an Oklahoma fan and maybe you have an issue with some things he said or whatever, and you just look at it from a professional perspective in any line of work, he went out, he busted his ass, and he got where he wanted to go. So I admire him for that, even though he's not my cup of tea when it comes to what I like to watch on YouTube. That's nothing personal against him. It's just my taste and what I prefer to see on YouTube. But the guy had a plan and he got it done. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, we're back.
Yeah, it's the off season. You've been back every July since 2010.
How you doing, Uncle Lou?
Doing good.
Yes, sir. I've been following your channel since about 4 years ago, and I've been a fan since. Even though we've been stuck in the crappy 12, and I'm glad to be a part of your show now.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, if I'm just being selfish about it, huge, insane, maniacal fan bases are great for me, and Texas and Oklahoma provide that. I'm happy to have y'all in the SEC.
Yes, sir. I became a Texas fan back when Major Applewhite was slinging the ball and that big old OU Texas game, and
and where they picked off right there on the end zone and killed us. And then I was fortunate enough to watch old Vince Young scramble in and Colt McCoy getting hurt in the Alabama game. But I think you see that LSU Texas game that we had a couple of years ago. It was LSU was obviously better, with Joe Burrow, that big hot shot.
Yeah.
But we stuck in that game. It'll show, and that shows, even though Texas is irrelevant in competition, kind of, slacking in the recruits and stuff like that, and bringing up the program, they'll still be able to compete. I think I can't wait to play with them little brothers. Say, how you doing, little brother? How you doing, little brother, down there in College Station?
We're going to get the Texas A&M game back. As a college football fan, I was sad to see that game go away. I remember forever they used to play on Thanksgiving every year, and that was one of the games you would watch every Thanksgiving as a college football fan, and that went away. And that was sad when that happened. Those two schools couldn't get together and work it out, but now they don't have a choice. They have to play.
Yes, sir. It's awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yes, sir. I'll first time, long time listener, first time caller. I'll be glad to call you back. Hopefully Texas and Georgia. Hopefully Georgia might get some revenge on Texas this year or next year.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Things go down the road.
I tell you this: whenever they announce Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC, whether it ends up being next year or 2023 or whatever, that's going to be the most watched schedule announcement of all time. People are going to be lined up from here to Kingdom Come to see what Texas and Oklahoma's first year schedule looks like in the SEC. That'll be interesting. But thank you for the call. I'm glad you took the time to call in, and I hope you'll do it again. Stay in touch, and good luck to your Texas Longhorns this year. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Lou, though.
Morning, Lou. It's your favorite Florida man, North Florida White Trash.
North Florida White Trash. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm glad I got through. I wanted to make a prediction before the season started, and if I'm wrong, I'll eat my crow. But Emory Jones, I'm not saying he's a dark horse Heisman. I don't think he's going to go to the NFL this year, but I think he'll be an effective quarterback, and I think he'll be clearly better than Felipe Franks.
Yeah, we'll see.
When you say you're not high on him,
I haven't been high on Emory Jones from the time he came out of high school, so it's not even a Florida thing. I don't think he's if he's going to have to run for 1,000 yards. If he wants to get anywhere close to the numbers Kyle Trask put up last year, which I don't see happening.
No, I don't see that happening. I'm not saying that. I think he'll be clearly better than what we had with Felipe Franks. I think he's got a little bit better touch than Franks, and he's a hell of a lot better runner. So I think he'll be a lot more effective of a quarterback. But I could be wrong about it. But
Dan Mullen likes those type of quarterbacks. There's no doubt about it. He even made Nick Fitzgerald look like he knew what he was doing at times out at Mississippi State. So anything's possible. It's just with Emory Jones, there's some things that I just harp on for so long that I can't change my mind on it until I'm proven wrong. And the Emory Jones thing is just one of those things. I wasn't high on him in high school. He was a Georgia kid, and I wasn't very high on him coming out of high school. I'm not going to change my mind now. Now, if he comes out and lights it up, I'll have to get on here and eat my crow. But I've just been banging this drum for so long that it would just be impossible for me to come off of it now.
Yeah, I don't necessarily expect him to light it up because I think he would have started in 2019 when Franks went down if he was just some prodigy.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to call in and say I think he'll be better than Franks, and I think he'll be a competent quarterback. Now, I could be wrong, and he might throw 15 interceptions, but
yeah.
He's
been in the system for 3 years. He should understand everything Dan Mullen wants him to do by now. He's been under Dan Mullen for 3 years, so that should pay off some. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was listening to Mark Rogers, and some guy called in was talking about the Bible and numbers in the Bible and all sorts of stuff. And Mark hung up the phone and kind of rolled his eyes and sighed and said, "And now to bring some sanity and stability. George, you're on the air.
Oh my God, Jeez.
Dying laughing.
Yeah, there is no sanity or stability, and George just don't go together.
Yeah,
that would be like practicing football in a sports bra. It just seems weird.
Yeah, I love George, but since Sankey's being, they say he's being all cutthroat, wouldn't it be the most it's not going to happen, but wouldn't it be the most cutthroat to cut ties with 4 teams that's currently in the SEC and just have a little bit smaller conference than 16 teams, but it would be the best of the best, like get rid of Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Missouri, and South Carolina?
Yeah, maybe if football was the only thing that existed, but Vanderbilt's one of the best baseball programs in America. Arkansas is a pretty good basketball school. I don't see the SEC throwing anybody out.
No, I don't think they're going to, but that'd be the most cutthroat. I don't even know if they could, outside of dissolving the SEC and forming a new conference with these 12 or 14 teams in it. But I have nothing against Oklahoma or Texas. I'm excited for the football. It just sucks that we're probably going to lose some games that we're used to seeing every single year. I don't see how we don't.
Well,
I love the LSU rivalry.
Yeah, if they go with the pod thing, the Georgia-Auburn game's going away. Now, the good news is with the pod system, you'd play every team every other year. So none of this having to wait 6 or 7 years. Like we played Alabama last year. The way the schedule is now, we won't play them again until like 2025 or 2026 or something. So you won't have to wait that long anymore. You'll play every team in the other pods, every 2 years. So at least you'd play them more often, but there would be some yearly rivalries that would go away, like you mentioned, LSU and Florida and Georgia and Auburn being the two biggest ones.
Yeah, well, it's tough to see how it goes. I mean, it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. North Florida White Trash, my favorite Florida fan. At least favorite name, anyway. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Lou, though.
What's up, Uncle Lou?
What's up, buddy?
I just called earlier. I'm a Sooners fan. I was just trying to, talk. I honestly, though, think, a lot of people say it's crazy. I think Oklahoma's going to walk into the SEC and dominate. I'm not even joking.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if your mother drank when you were pregnant or what the deal is there, but good luck with that. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, sir. How you doing? This is Jason, Bama Fanatic.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Man, I just wanted to call and coordinate with you, man, and see when we were supposed to send the secret pamphlets out with the handshakes and the passwords and stuff like that to Oklahoma and Texas. For the SEC, man, I just
Greg Sankey's in charge of that.
What was up?
Yeah, he'll be sending it out to him probably as soon as this season ends. We'll send out all that top secret info.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, man. I love these Oklahoma fans who think they're coming to dominate. They don't have a clue what the grind is in the SEC, man. I mean, you can tell they just ain't never had to deal with that.
Right.
Start.
People can say all they want, whatever. The SEC is the best conference for a reason, and it's because there are more good teams in the SEC than there are in the other conferences. That's just a fact. It's just harder to go through the SEC than it is the other conferences. The Big Ten is good. The ACC's got a few good teams. The Big 12's got, Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa State's pretty good this year. But they just don't have the number of difficult teams and difficult environments that the SEC has, because it's like I've been telling Oklahoma and Texas fans for the last couple of weeks, you can play a 3-6 Ole Miss team on the road at Ole Miss, and the game's going to be sold out, and the fans are going to be going absolutely nuts. They don't care that they're a 3-9 team. They don't care. You go play Kansas when they're 3-6, there's nobody there. You don't find that in the SEC. Yeah, Vandy and Mizzou and Arkansas, not even really Arkansas, Vandy and Mizzou, those are easy places to play. There's not really another easy place to play. Doesn't matter what a team's record is. The fans are insane regardless.
Then they don't understand, Lou, that whenever they play like Ole Miss or Mississippi State, the players they're going to be playing against are some of the top 4 teams in the Big 12, but outside of Oklahoma and Texas, the teams they play, their recruiting classes aren't anywhere even close to what those teams are going to have on the field.
Right.
I mean, the recruiting class, we're most time, we got 8 or 9 teams in the top 15 or 20 recruiting classes every year for teams.
Yeah,
8 or 9 SEC teams.
Right. You can have like the 10th best recruiting class in America, and that'll put you like 7th in the SEC.
Yeah, and they don't realize that 3 of their best players on defense and 2 of their best players on offense, when they get to the 9th game of the season, ain't going to be playing no more. They're going to be backups playing in those spots because people's going to get hurt, especially the first year they're here, because they're going to have to completely restructure their training, strength, and conditioning programs.
Right.
Because it's not going to work the way they got it. In Oklahoma, the 3 or 4 scholarships that they would usually give to offensive players, they're going to have to start giving to defensive players. So that receiver they missed on, but they had another one that they recruited, they ain't going to be like that no more.
Right.
I mean, you got to hit, and player development is the biggest deal, man. And they just don't see how that's going to happen. They don't even understand that. You can tell by talking to them.
Yeah. Hey, in the comment section, Dr. Winston, good to see you here. Is that the same Kansas State that Oklahoma hasn't beat since the iPhone 8? Asking for a friend. Sorry about that. Continue with your call, sir.
Yeah, that's all I wanted, Lou, but I just wanted to kind of pull their leg about the passwords and the handshake and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, you've been on fire for the past week, too, Lou. You've been on fire, brother.
Yeah, well, it's easy to do when you get big news like this. It's easy to do. The hard part is making it through May when you can't find any college football news to save your life. That's the hard part. This is kind of easy when you get this huge news. So, but I'm happy to have all these.
We'll have a talent show though.
We're gonna have a talent show?
We'll have a talent show on the LouTube. We'll have a talent show on LouTube at any second, man, and it'd be popping.
Well, we actually do have a talent show every year in June on the morning show. We did it. It just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. We do it every June on the morning show.
That's
and it's
what I'm talking
absolutely
about.
amazing. Yeah, we need to get some of these Texas and Oklahoma boys in on a talent show next June. I'm sure 1 or 2 of them.
They
have
don't
some
even
talent.
know nothing about flashlight PP.
No, they're gonna find out.
They don't have a clue, man.
They're gonna find out. That's right, Shorthorn Man and Land Thief Man. Those are the types of fans you have to deal with now in the SEC. Welcome to the SEC. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. This is Collins. I'm from Texas, but I root for OU. Funny story real quick. I've rooted for OU my whole life, and I'm going to be attending UT next fall. So that is going to be a very difficult transition to make, no doubt. But
hell yeah.
I don't know if you can imagine rooting for Florida as like a Georgia fan or something, but it's not too fun so far. But yeah, so I've been making that transition, but I've been watching I've been watching your channel for like a while now, man. It's been really fun to like watch your progress over the years. Cause I remember it used to be more regional, just doing like Georgia and SEC stuff, and now you've expanded to like all of college football and stuff. And it's been cool to watch. It's even more fun now that we're a part of the SEC. But so first off, I can't wait to get a rematch with y'all. Like after that Rose Bowl a few years ago, it's gonna be it'll be fun playing Alabama and A&M, but like Georgia is one of those teams that I really have circled on. Like that could be a fun matchup. I could see it being like, an Ohio State, Wisconsin type of thing where like we're in opposite divisions, but we like meet in like the championship game like every few years or something, and we just have like really good games or something. So that'll be fun for sure. But out of curiosity, so what made you come around to our defense aside from like the rankings? Because was there like a particular game you saw, like the Florida game or something like that made you think that?
Well, definitely not the Florida game
now,
because now I think Oklahoma would have won that game regardless, but that wasn't a fair that wasn't an accurate represent. Like, oh my God, Oklahoma's defense is amazing because look what they did to Florida. Florida's entire team was gone, but I did watch almost every single Oklahoma game last year, and you could just tell they were better. I mean, I don't know if I'm assuming it's probably a combination of increased talent and multiple years in the system now under Alex Grinch, so the players just understand what to do more in his system than they did the year before. But you can see the gradual increase in Oklahoma's defense over the last couple of years, and then you look at what they have coming back this year. Not only the best defensive line in the Big 12 probably, but one of the best defensive lines in college football. They'll have a pretty good secondary. The linebacker should be really good. It's just if you've watched Oklahoma over the last few years, they deserved every bit of criticism they got in 2017 and 2018, and it deserves to be recognized by people that their defense now is way better than it was in 17 and 18. Now, is it going to be good enough in the playoffs to slow down somebody like an Alabama, a Clemson, whoever they end up playing with some high-powered offense? I don't know, because hardly anybody's able to slow down those offenses anymore. I mean, as good as Georgia's defense was in 2017, we still gave up 48 points to you. I mean, so it's hard to stop these offenses, but in those games, you have to have a defense that's good enough to make a critical stop once or twice a game when you really need it. If you look at the Alabama versus Ole Miss game last year, back and forth game, but Ole Miss could never make a stop. Alabama made one or two, but that one or two was enough. The same thing in the Alabama-Florida game. Those two great offenses. Alabama had a pretty good defense, but couldn't slow Florida down, but they made a couple of stops when they needed it. And Oklahoma's just never been able to do that. I mean, when we played, y'all, if it was 3rd and 10, we could run it up the middle and gain 15 yards. I mean, it was crazy. And that's not Oklahoma's defense anymore. Oklahoma's defense deserves some respect. Now, heading into last year, I was cautiously optimistic. I wasn't talking this way about Oklahoma's defense heading into last year. I was in a I have to see it to believe it type of mode last year. But now I've seen it. And so I do think Oklahoma's going to have the best defense this year that they've had in the playoff era. And that's scary for anybody that has to play Oklahoma because we know the offense can put up 45 points anytime they want to. So if Spencer Rattler can hold on to the ball, he can't turn the ball over. But I think Oklahoma's got a good shot this year. The best shot they've had in the playoff era for sure.
I do too, for sure. But it's been weird though. I can't lie. Like, I mean, we've wanted to get credit for our defense. Like, we've wanted to have a good defense first and then get credit for it for so long. But like now that we're getting so much recognition, it feels like, oh shoot, like, can we live up to the hype? I hope we can. I think we'll be able to. But like, we're getting hyped up now, like really, really hard for especially the defense, and everybody's saying it's legit and everything. I mean, I just hope that we can live up to expectations. But also, I've got to ask. So yeah, you've heard a lot. I've been listening to the show, and there have been a little bit, I'd say, like more delusional Oklahoma fans that have popped up saying that like we're going to run through the SEC and stuff. It's really not going to be like that. We will definitely have a chance like to win SEC titles and stuff, but like it's going to be like Alabama, like y'all, Georgia, and us, A&M. I mean, but it's really not going to be that easy because like I think people are really underestimating like how easy the Big 12 was compared to like what we're going to get into, because like the SEC, like for y'all's recruiting rankings and stuff, and I know it's been like said before, but like for example, I just saw this the other day, a few weeks ago. I saw Oklahoma State, one of like arguably the top 4 teams in the Big 12, lost a commitment from a linebacker, Jordan Crook, and guess where he was trying to go? Arkansas. Right. Which is, I don't know. Would you rank him in the top half of the SEC? I'm not sure if I would, but I mean, like when you have stuff like that, where you have like one of your supposed top like conference members like losing recruits to the SEC, where it's just teams that aren't even vying for like an SEC championship or anything. It really like hurts. And I mean, it's not all recruiting. It's obviously like development and stuff too, but like. There really isn't going to be an off week for us anymore. And that is pretty scary considering that we've like been upset at least like once a year usually. So, I mean, I'm just hoping we can adjust to that. But out of curiosity, though, how much would you attribute like Georgia's losses in the past, like when y'all been upset like the South Carolina or something, to the SEC schedule, like how hard it's been, like for y'all to face like opponent after opponent and stuff like that?
Well,
difficult teams.
I would love to blame the South Carolina loss on that, but that wasn't the case. We turned the ball over 4 times. I mean, we only gave up 1 offensive touchdown to South Carolina and lost. You know how hard it is to do that in modern football? If I tell you your defense is going to give up 1 touchdown, you'd bet every dime you have that you won that game. We gave up 1 defensive touchdown and lost. Jake Fromm had 4 turnovers. That's what lost that game, not difficult scheduling. Difficult scheduling bites you, not just when you're playing a bad team. I mean, that can happen. But when you're playing teams that are close or equal to you in talent, you know, if you have to play Texas A&M and LSU 2 weeks in a row, you might be better than Texas A&M and better than LSU. But it's hard to play at a high enough level 2 weeks in a row to beat them 2 weeks in a row. That's where things like that tend to show up more, I think. It's not the terrible teams you have to worry about losing to, even though that does happen on occasion, like Georgia losing to South Carolina. It's the teams that maybe you're only a little bit better than or close to equal to when you have to play a couple of 2, 3, 4 tough games in a row. That's where I think it tends to catch up with you.
I see. Okay. And last question for you. So I know who are you more excited to play against, OU or Texas? Because with OU, you know, there will probably be, you know, better than Texas by whenever y'all play us, but it's always fun to bash on Texas and you know, just beat the crap out of them and stuff. So
yeah,
which are you looking more forward to?
Well, I would like to play Oklahoma this year because I think that means Georgia made the playoffs, because I do think Oklahoma's making the playoffs this year. But Texas beat us last time we played, so there's the revenge factor there. There's not a whole lot of history between Georgia and Texas or Georgia and Oklahoma, so I don't know that there's one team clearly above the other that I'm like, yeah, that's the team I want to play. This year, I hope it's Oklahoma, because if we play Oklahoma this year, that means Georgia's in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm just telling you, though, it'll be I don't have much experience because I've rooted for OU my whole life. It'll be very easy to hate against Texas whenever we join, whenever we all join and stuff. So you won't have to worry about that at all. It'll be really fun for sure. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for your time.
Thanks for the call, man. It was good to hear from you. Good luck to your Sooners this year. I remember when we played Oklahoma in 2017, and I had a lot of fun going back and forth with the Oklahoma fans, and they all told me the same thing. If you think we're bad, wait till you play Texas. And I was like, well, we're never going to play Texas. Then we ended up playing Texas the next year in the Sugar Bowl. And what do you know? The Oklahoma fans were right. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. You might want to get that checked. Probably need to make an appointment with your gynecologist. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hi, Uncle Lou. I just had two quick questions. One was, I think I saw a video where you commented on it, but I was I agree with the decision not to give Reggie Bush his Heisman, even though he's been whining along with Pryor. And also, do you think there's any way to get Texas and Oklahoma in for this year for the SEC?
No. The season starts in 4 weeks. No. They're not getting in.
I think that would be ideal.
No, they're not getting in this year. Tickets have already been. I mean, the schedules are made. The tickets are sold. They can't. No, not this year. No. Next year.
You think they were right though?
Do I think what?
That Reggie Bush shouldn't get his Heisman?
No, he shouldn't get his Heisman back. No. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. If I get a speeding ticket today for going 60 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone, and I pay the speeding ticket, in a year from now, they up the speed limit to 70, do I get my money back? Yes or no?
No.
No. Thank you for the call. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, how's it going, Uncle Lou?
Going good.
Jerry here, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, good to hear from you.
I'm a big Oklahoma and Maryland fan, but I just wanted to say Georgia is terrible. They're terrible. I'm really sorry. I just want to apologize to absolutely nobody. Georgia's terrible.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning, Uncle Lou. Kevin Deal here.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
I just wanted to ask you a question. Man. I know we have talent. I'm a Georgia fan. I know we have some transfers that came in, but we did lose a lot in the secondary. We do have a lot of players coming back, but we did lose a lot in the secondary. Even with the transfers and everything, does the secondary kind of worry you a little bit? Because it does worry me.
It worries me a lot less today than it did in February. The safety we got from West Virginia is rated by most people who know what they're doing as the top returning safety in college football. Now, we can laugh because he's from West Virginia all we want, but the point is he's rated as the top returning safety in college football for a reason. Will he be the best safety in college football this year? I'm not saying that. But he's better than whatever options we had. And he has experience. And that's what we needed more than anything else. Keely Ringo may end up being a great corner, but the guy's never played it down. So, we'll put him out there and we'll see how he does. So you bring Darion Kendrick in from Clemson. The Tater Man can say all they want about how he got burnt against one of the best wide receivers in America in the Ohio State game. That's great. I can play for an hour straight clips of Deion Sanders getting touchdowns scored on him. What does that mean?
Right, it's going to happen.
It means nothing. The guy was he was all ACC. The guy was all ACC. And again, I'm not trying to claim he's Deion Sanders or whoever else. But when you look at what we have, I think, and no one is harder on Kirby Smart than me when I think he deserves it. I think Kirby deserves some credit for what he did in the transfer portal this year. He went out and he got good players. Never mind if they're great or not. He got good, experienced players in the two positions that we needed it the most. I don't think he could have done any better. And then he went out and got the best available player in the entire portal in Eric Gilbert. So if you want to rank transfer portal in this offseason, Georgia's on the top of the list. Now, we don't know how any of these guys are going to work out at UGA. You don't know how anybody's going to work out until you see them play. But I don't know how Kirby could have went out and got three better people for what we need than Gilbert, Kendrick, and Smith from West Virginia.
Right. I'm also hoping on the offensive side of the ball, I'm hoping Kirby kind of lets Monken do his thing. And I'm really hoping to see some two tight end sets, man. If there's anything I'm excited about, I just don't see. I know George Pickens is gone, but I just don't. Our receivers and our tight ends are going to be a problem. We know the running backs are solid, but I just don't see you put both those tight ends out there along with our receiving core and then our backs rotating in and out. I think, JT Daniels is going to have a solid year. We get excited every year about Georgia, but I can't remember being this excited about the offense in a long time. I mean, I was excited when we had Chubb and Tony Michel and Gurley. You're excited, around the running backs almost every single year, but I don't remember a time I've been this excited for the wide receiving core as a whole. And I'm just ready for the season to start. We're going to be a problem for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Hey, thank you for the call. I'm going to let you go. Best group of wide receivers / tight ends that Georgia has ever had, period. Maybe there's not an A.J. Green. Maybe there's not even a Terrence Edwards, whatever. Wide receiver room right now, wide receiver tight end room right now at UGA, best they've ever had. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hi, Uncle Lou. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So I'm a Maryland fan, big fan of Big Ten, and I just want to know what you think of the Big Ten as a conference going into this year.
I think it's the second best conference behind the SEC.
The Big Ten is. Sorry, go ahead.
I think they're the second best conference behind the ACC, depending on what happens with a couple of teams in the ACC. I think it's pretty close between the Big Ten and the ACC, but I would probably give the Big Ten the edge.
Okay. Do you think the Big Ten has any shot to the playoffs this year, especially in Ohio State?
Oh, yeah. I think they have always got a shot. As long as Ohio State, yes, I think they've got a shot.
Is it actually, real quick, are you familiar with Taulia Tagovailoa?
Yeah.
You like the dude?
Yeah, he looked terrible his first game last year. He looked terrible in the first game,
Yeah.
but then in the second game he looked great, and then he played okay the rest of the year too. And now he'll have a regular, full, complete offseason and spring that he went through. So I expect him to be a lot better this year than he was last year.
Hey, Lou, is it okay if I transfer you to my friend real quick? You couldn't get in line.
Yeah, hurry up.
All right, here you go. This is my friend Jerry.
Hey, Louie, guess who it is?
I don't.
Georgia is terrible.
You there? You there? I think your walkie-talkie died, or it might have come unplugged. Call back, though. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Uncle Lou, what's up, man? How are you, buddy?
Doing great.
Man, I've been listening to you for like 100 years, and like this is the first time I've ever called in. This is Willow, by the way. Nice to finally meet you. I've been in your chats for quite some time.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
I'm probably the only guy who's not ecstatic about this, man. Like, you don't think there's going to be some negative from this? Like, I'm not sure I'm on board with it, man. I'm just not, for a couple of reasons. A, if you're a fan of the idea of expanding the playoffs, I think this absolutely, unless they do it in the next year or two, I think that nukes that for a while, which I wasn't a big fan of expanding the playoffs anyway, so I'm fine with that. To me, that's actually one of the wins because people already bitch and complain when there's 2 SEC teams that are 4. If you expand this to 8 teams, you're going to have 6 SEC teams in the playoffs. I don't think there's hardly any way around it. You're going to have Clemson and Ohio State and then a gaggle of SEC teams. So I think that kind of nukes the idea of expanding the playoffs for a while unless they do it immediately.
Well,
your thoughts on that?
I think, I mean, before this happened, I think it was likely that in a 12-team playoff scenario, the SEC gets 3 teams in almost every single year. Maybe now they get 4. Maybe. I don't see the SEC ever getting more than 4 in because all these teams, or the majority of them anyway, have to play each other.
True.
So I don't really see a way where more than 4 get in. I mean, it's possible, but I would say unlikely because it's just at some point, you know, no matter how good you are, if you're sitting on 4 losses, you're probably not going to get in. So, and as far as any negatives or whatever, I am concerned about what this might do to college football as a whole. Like when the story came out last week that the SEC was talking to Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan, and Florida State, I thought that was terrible. I'm okay with going to 16 teams because I've thought that that's where we were headed for a long time. 4 conferences of 16 teams. I think there's enough legitimate football programs to support 4 conferences of 16 teams. Now, it's going to be up to these other conferences to go out and find, find those teams. The ACC needs to lock Notre Dame in and then add one more, whether that's Central Florida or whether it's Cincinnati or whether it's West Virginia out of the Big 12 or whether it's whoever. Big Ten's going to have to do the same. Maybe the Big Ten gets Iowa State and one other Big 12 left over, and then the Pac-12 gets, Boise State and whoever else and go to 16 teams. I'm okay with that. I don't want part of the fun of being an SEC fan is bragging about beating other conferences. Well, if the SEC has the 20 best teams in America, I mean, what's,
who are we going to beat?
What's the point of bragging at that point about?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't want it to get where
it's
pretty much just the SEC and that's it. I also don't want the 2 mega conference idea either. That just sounds too much like the NFL to me. Like if you had the SEC goes to 20 or 24 and then everyone else combines to make a 24-team league, well, you're going to have the SEC playing each other all season long, the other conference playing each other all season long. The SEC is going to have its own playoffs. The other conference will have its own playoffs, and then the 2 winners will meet in a college Super Bowl. I don't want that. I like the ambiguity of college football. I like arguing over whether a team should be 4th or 5th, or when we go to 12 teams, arguing over whether a team should be 12th or 13th. I like the fact that we have polls and rankings that determine things instead of it being done in a scientific way like the NFL. To me, that's part of the fun of college football, arguing about where these teams should be ranked and things like that. And if you go to just these 2 mega conferences and basically do an NFL-style playoff, all that goes away. So I do share some of your concern.
And that's absolutely the concern. Obviously, I mean, we do 8 conference games before. Now, I don't think that really changes rival games. I think the schedule looks pretty much the same. We don't know where Texas and Oklahoma lie yet. I'm assuming East and West. At least I haven't heard anything about that. I'm assuming that Texas will probably end up in the West, which to me, that kind of makes Georgia a loser in this in a roundabout sort of way, because let's face it, Georgia owns the East right now. For the next 3 or 4 years, I don't see anybody touching what Georgia's doing. I think if they put Oklahoma over there, I think Georgia's kind of a loser in this. I guess the big thing I'm trying to get at is I don't really understand what we win here. What did the conference gain from this? We gained a couple names. Well, we gained 1 superpower and 1 brand recognition superpower. Because Texas, I mean, yes, they're a money factory. They're old money. They're oil money. But looking at the numbers a few minutes ago, I mean, they've had 1 top 10 finish between 84 and 2000, 1 natty in 50 years. They literally have been on a 5-year tier of 4 regular season losses. The only reason they didn't lose 4 last year is because they only played 9 games and they went 6-3. They look good on paper, but I guess I'm trying to figure out, we were already the best conference in college football. That I don't even think that was a debate. I'm just trying to figure out, aside from Oklahoma, I feel like Oklahoma's the winner here. Because I feel like if you put Oklahoma in the East, it's going to come down to them and Georgia every year, and God willing, they will beat Georgia sometimes. And they're going to come right in and start dominating.
It was just a matter of time before the Big 12 went under, because they've just made too many bad decisions. They never expanded when they should have, and they're sitting there at 10 teams. So I think at some point the Big 12 was going to go under, and whether that happened and then Texas and Oklahoma leave, or whether Texas and Oklahoma leave and that causes it to happen, somebody was going to get Texas and Oklahoma. The Pac-12 had been flirting with Texas in the past. So I just think this was a preemptive move by the SEC. The Big 12 was on its last leg. No one watches those silly-ass noon games. There's only about 2 or 3 good games a year in the entire Big 12. And I just think it was going away. And so the SEC is sitting there going, well, do we wait for it to happen and hope that they choose us over everyone else that'll want them, or do we just go get them now? And so I think they just went and got them now. So I don't blame the SEC. I do think Texas and Oklahoma brings a lot to the SEC. I mean, you can't really – it's hard to find fan bases outside of the SEC that are as passionate or as maniacal as we are. And Texas and Oklahoma are 2 of those fan bases. I mean, there's not too many fan bases that are like that. Maybe you point to Ohio State, maybe Michigan, maybe Wisconsin, maybe Penn State, and then you got a few in the ACC. But the Big 12 is the conference that was going away. And if there was 2 teams in there that you were going to get, every single conference in America would choose Texas and Oklahoma. So I think SEC just got ahead of the curve.
And I'm sure these other schools will find somewhere to land, because, I mean, it's not just football. I mean, obviously Kansas State doesn't look good on grass, but they look relatively decent on hardwood. I mean, so I think that's a consideration as well. I mean, I don't think any of these other schools are going to have, trouble finding a place to go. I guess that was just the big thing for me, man. I was just trying to figure out exactly what we gained. I mean, we were already the baddest ass on the block. And now I'm just, I think Texas A&M was kind of a loser in this too, because Texas A&M was that was a recruiting tool for them to look to Oklahoma and Texas kids and say, hey, don't you want to play in the SEC, but don't you kind of want to stay home? They don't have that bargaining chip anymore either. I think Texas A&M is kind of a loser in this deal as well.
Yeah.
And possibly defensive coordinators in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I think they may be a loser in this
I tell you
deal.
what, find somebody that's just a casual college football fan, and go ask them to name the first 20 college football teams that pop into their head. They will name Texas or Oklahoma somewhere in there, without question.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. Moving right along. A couple more phone calls, and we got to wrap it up. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Hello?
My name's Neil. I'm a Penn State fan. I know what you think about like teams and smaller conferences that go like undefeated, for example, like UCF. Do you think they have a legitimate claim or do you think they just get blown out right away?
In a 4-team playoff, I don't think the group of 5 should or ever will get in. In a 12-team, they will, but not in a 4-team. UCF can.
Do you think in a 12-team?
Yeah, they'll get in a 12-team for sure. Will they win it? No. It's one thing to practice for 30 days.
They may not win it.
It's one thing to practice for 30 days and beat an uninterested Auburn team in a Peach Bowl. It's a whole other thing entirely to have to beat Auburn and then the next week beat Clemson and then the next week beat Ohio State and then the next week beat Oklahoma. And a team like Central Florida is never doing that. And that's what they're going to have to do to win a 12-team playoff. Thank you for the call. Good morning, you're on UNCLELOU.
Hey.
Hey. Turn that down. Turn that down in the background and talk to me on the phone. There you go.
My bad. I was waiting on you. All right, but you know how you hate niggers and all, just like I do, brother. Go Balls.
Sorry about that. There's nothing I can do about the mentally retarded. So I apologize for that. Well, Texas fans and Oklahoma fans, welcome to the SEC where we still have plenty of racists. All right, there's nobody else on hold, so I'm going to turn the phones off. You got to give that guy credit. He waited over 30 minutes to do that. If nothing else, he's dedicated to his racism. Putting his number out doesn't do any good. They don't have the balls to call in from their real phone number, so they just use a spoofed number when they call in. So putting the number out won't do any good. Banning the number doesn't do any good. I mean, they use they use an app when they call in that generates a dummy number. All they have to do is hit a button and it gives them another new number. So the best thing to do is just ignore them. I mean, it's the highlight of their week to call in and do that. So you hate to take that away from them. But I am going to get out of here, though. Way over time tonight. Almost 2.5 hours today. But we had great calls up until the end, so I really appreciate everybody who took the time to call in. This last couple of weeks on the call-in show has been amazing. You can tell we're getting closer to the season, and plus having the big Texas and Oklahoma news didn't hurt either. But in all seriousness, shout out to all the Texas and Oklahoma fans. I hope you guys will stick around. We have a lot of fun on this channel year round, obviously, especially during the season. During the off season, it's a little more calm and relaxed. During the season, there is a lot of trash talk around here. So don't take it personally when you hear the trash talk from me or the callers or anybody else. To me, trash talk is a part of college football. So you're going to hear a lot of it during the season. It's all in good fun. This is just how we do it down here. But I hope you guys will all stick around. Like I said, there's a lot of great people on this channel in the comment section and on the phones. You can make some pretty good friends around here. We have a good time. We're a pretty close-knit community, and we're happy to have all you new people. We're happy to have you a part of it. And we're almost to the start of the season, so it's going to be great. Big shout out to everybody who helped support the show tonight with the super chats and the PayPals. I really appreciate that. That's what keeps these live shows going. Mr. Lambo, Clemson John, Dylan Deloney, Rhino26, Sea Dog, Fine Bum, Apex, Jesus Christ Home Slice, Oni Kuno. Really appreciate you guys hitting that PayPal link. And then over, the super chat button down there in the comments section. And then over on the PayPal page, we had Sean D., the Notre Dame man. We had Rhino, the Oklahoma man. And we had Hufferbilly Paul, the Clemson man. So I really appreciate all of you supporting the show. To everybody that called in, once again, thank you very much. Traveling Fools, thank you for the super chat. He says, welcome to all the new kids. Put your big boy pants on. It's going to be a fun ride. Yeah, we have a great time around here. There are fans, there are fan bases represented in this comment section from coast to coast, literally. We have a great time here. So the Texas and Oklahoma fans are going to fit in great. Those are two of the most passionate fan bases in America. And this is a good place for y'all to be. We have a lot of fun here. A lot of fun year round. To everybody in the comment section tonight, I appreciate you guys keeping it entertaining in there. There's a lot of people that watch this show on mute. Facts. There's a lot of people watch this show on mute. They just come here to play in the comment section. I have the best comment section on YouTube. My channel is average, but the comment section is amazing. So big shout out to you guys in the comment section tonight. Bama Matt, thank you for the super chat. He says, OU versus Texas 2021 will be heard chanting SEC. Could happen. Could happen. Could definitely happen. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. What's tomorrow? Friday? Morning show tomorrow at 8 a.m. on the second channel. Morning show tomorrow, 8 a.m., second channel, Uncle Lou on YouTube. Uncle Lou on YouTube. Tune in for that on the second channel, the morning show. I do that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Make sure you check it out. I did the Oklahoma prediction video today. No, Texas. I did what did I do? Did I do Texas or Oklahoma today? I did Texas today. I did the Texas prediction video today. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. I uploaded it around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. Tomorrow, Oklahoma. I figured I'd knock Texas and Oklahoma out this week while that's all everybody was talking about. I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys. I had a great time. Can't wait to do it again. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good morning. Play. What else can I play? There's got to be some more songs I can play. What song can I play here? Let's see. See if we can't find a good one. Should I play that? No, that would be silly. That would be silly. Why not? Can't go wrong with this. Can't go wrong with this one. Everybody likes this song. There can't be anybody that doesn't like this song. I'll see y'all next time.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. singer in a smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill, paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some of them just sing the blues. Oh, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Streetlight people. Don't stop believing. Hold on. Streetlight people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Step inside, walk this way, you and me, babe. Hey, hey. Yeah, we like a bomb, baby, come and get it on. Living like a lover with a red iPhone. Looking like a tramp, like a video bam. Demolition woman, can I be your man? Easy Well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. Well, I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes.